What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Wrasslin for Life Network, and welcome back to another edition of the TNA Impact Review. We got a lot to talk about. We got Charlie Dempsey on TNA television. Joe Hendry qualified for Slammiversary, and who attacked Nick Nemeth. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Welcome back to the TNA Impact Review. I am your host, Ringsider Anthony, and like I said, we got a lot to talk about. Charlie Dempsey on TNA television. Joe Hendry is in the big TNA World Championship match at Slammiversary, and Nick Nemeth was attacked backstage, and we don't know who did it. There's a lot to unpack from this week's episode of TNA Impact. We kick off TNA Impact with Trey Miguel versus Leon Slater. And when this match was announced, I was already super hyped for this match. Leon Slater is the future of TNA wrestling, and Trey Miguel is one of those mainstays in TNA wrestling, that veteran in TNA wrestling. And this match was sure to be good. And like I said, it was good. This delivered total nonstop action throughout the entirety of this match. At one point, I thought Trey had it. At another point, I thought Leon Slater was going to pick up the victory. But man, was this back and forth action until someone that is not a part of TNA showed up and attacked everybody, including the referee. And that person was Charlie Dempsey from NXT. He attacked both members of the Rascals. He attacked Leon Slater. He attacked the referee to the point where after the match ended and after it ended in that, interruption, Zachary Wentz in a backstage segment said, you know what? You didn't came to my home. You didn't destroyed my home. You didn't attacked everything in my home. Next week on TNA Impact, it will be Charlie Dempsey versus Zachary Wentz in singles competition. So TNA and WWE continues with this collaboration on this week's episode of TNA Impact. Next week, Jordan Grace is defending the TNA Knockouts World Championship in an open challenge, which was, I do know, accepted by another NXT superstar. So they're going head first into this collaboration. Like I said, we got to keep watching NXT. We got to keep watching TNA Impact to find out who will show up where. We head to our second match of the night, Spitfire battling one another in singles action. It was Danny Luna versus Jody Threat, and these two are trying to get back to the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. And each week they've been going through tests, been going through trials, and I believe this was the last one, them facing one another. And what a match this was. I went into this thinking it was just going to be a great women's match, but it turned out to be more than just a great women's match. Danny Luna showed up and showed out. Jody Threat showed up and showed out. And then right in between their match, we had a big breaking news type moment because the cameras cut backstage and Nick Nemeth had been found on the stairs, beat down, unconscious, whatever you want to call it. Nick Nemeth was found backstage during this match. And so we cut to the cameras back to the ring. Jody Threat, Danny Luna still going at it. They reached the 10-minute time limit. Then they asked for 5 more minutes, and they got the 5 more minutes, but then they were attacked by Militia. That is Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards, the current TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Champions. They know that Spitfire is coming for them, and they wanted to make a name for themselves on top of Spitfire. So that's what they had to do here. I do believe we're going to get Spitfire versus Militia at Slammiversary, maybe on the Slammiversary pre-show. But yeah, I feel like this is going to be a great match when they announce it. Last week on TNA Impact, it was made official that Mustafa Ali will be defending the TNA X Division Championship against Speedball Mike Bailey at Slammiversary. But after having a week to think about it, Ali said he wanted to retract his challenge. And he said Speedball Mike Bailey has not earned that opportunity. And Santino reluctantly agreed. And so next week, on TNA Impact, Speedball Mike Bailey will be competing in a number one contendership match for the X Division Championship. We don't know who his competitor is just yet, but this match has already been announced. It's going down at SummerSlam. I got Speedball Mike Bailey to win. We had the final two Road to Slammiversary qualifier matches on this week's episode of TNA Impact. And the first one that went down was Frankie Kazarian versus Mike Santana. This was an excellent match, and Mike Santana brings the energy to TNA Impact, to TNA Wrestling in his entrance. He just gets the whole TNA fandom hyped for his matches in TNA. But this was a great match. Frankie Kazarian showing up and showing why he is truly maybe the king of TNA, and Mike Santana is just a beast in that ring. And this was probably one of my favorite matches of the night on TNA Impact. I think the outcome was a little wonky because I wanted Mike Santana to win. But we had an interference by Dirty Dango, who actually attacked Mike Santana, and Mike Santana could not make it back into the ring for the 10 count. And because of that, Frankie Kazarian won this match via countout. He has qualified for the TNA World Championship match at Slammiversary. But if you haven't seen this match, I implore you to go do so. You can watch it on YouTube. If you are an insider, you can watch it on the TNA Plus app. This was a fun match. And like I said, ever since Mike Santana really came back to TNA, he's been proven time and time again, while it may be time for him to hold the TNA World Championship. So we got one match added to the Slammiversary card and another match being teased. The match being teased is ABC challenging the System, Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, to the TNA World Tag Team Championships, and AJ Francis will be defending his Digital Media Championship against PCO at Slammiversary. Slammiversary, the card is shaping up to be really good. I'm excited for the pay-per-view. But yeah, we got one match teased and one match announced. So keep watching TNA Impact as they continue to shape up this Slammiversary card. We head to our next match of the night. The Hardys, Rebecca Hardy and Matt Hardy, teamed up to take on the Edwards, Eddie Edwards, and Alicia Edwards in some tag team action. And this was another match I was excited for. It did deliver. It was some great action in this match. The heels obviously did have the upper hand the majority of the match, but Matt Hardy, Rebecca Hardy picked up the victory. I don't know where this leads and where this goes from here, but yeah, this was a solid, fun match to watch. This is another match that if you haven't seen, please try to go out your way and see it. This was a fun match to witness on TNA. Jordan Grace. We can't have a TNA Impact without a Jordan Grace appearance or a Jordan Grace video package. Jordan Grace will be defending the TNA Knockouts World Championship in an open challenge next week on TNA Impact. And she said anyone from anywhere is open to come and take this title away from her. I do already know that it is an NXT superstar. I don't necessarily know who, but yes, next week, Jordan Grace defends the TNA Knockouts World Championship in an open challenge. We are already at the main event. Yes, this week's episode of TNA Impact flew by, but the main event was another Road to Slammiversary qualifier match. It was Joe Hendry versus Jake something. And I might have said Frankie Kazarian versus Mike Santana was my favorite match of the night, but this was the actual match of the night. If there was somebody in TNA that can match Jake something's strength, it is Joe Hendry, and that is exactly what happened throughout this match. This was a fun match, showed off Jake something and his ability to potentially be a future TNA World Champion. And then we have Joe Hendry, who is over in every wrestling company in the entire world. This man is over in professional wrestling, and this was his moment. I think we all knew this was his moment to win. And one thing that the commentator said that I didn't even realize was that Joe Hendry was the last person to pin Moose in singles action. So, with him winning this match and qualifying for the Road to Slammiversary Elimination TNA World Championship match, could he have his moment and win the TNA World Championship at Slammiversary? I don't know, but this match really showed Joe Hendry's ability to go in that ring. It also showed that Jake Something is one of the best in TNA. A lot of people may say he's boring, but I really like that Jake Something. I feel like Jake Something is interesting and really entertaining. But yeah, this was an excellent match won by Joe Hendry. I am excited for Joe Hendry because I don't know if he will do it at Slammiversary, but he has the opportunity to shock the world and become world champion in TNA. And I know a lot of folks have been wanting to see that, me included, been wanting to see that for a very long time. So Slammiversary really could be the moment that Joe Hendry captures the TNA World Championship. But TNA is not over just yet. So we cut to a backstage segment where the system is in their vehicle and Dirty Dango is getting in. And basically, Moose said, I knew you were going to take out Mike Santana, but you also took out Nick Nemeth. Dirty Dango said, no, I didn't take out Nick Nemeth. Moose says, well, then who? Dirty Dango doesn't know because he only attacked Mike Santana. Then it cut to Frankie Kazarian, and Frankie Kazarian basically just called them some marks. And then he looked at someone that we could not see and said, what are you recording? Why are you recording me? And then it cut out and TNA Impact ended. But who attacked Nick Nemeth? That is the big question going into Slammiversary. That is the big question going into next week's episode of TNA Impact. Was it Frankie Kazarian? Was it Frankie Kazarian that attacked Nick Nemeth? Or was it someone completely new and different that we don't know about? What if it was an NXT superstar? I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs that goes into this. But yeah, Nick Nemeth was attacked, and it wasn't by the system. It wasn't by Dirty Dango, but we don't know who, and we have to be looking out to see who attacked Nick Nemeth. Before I leave you guys today, I do want to give you a quick update of the Slammiversary card. So we have 4 matches listed and ready to go for Slammiversary. Here they are. So we have Moose defending the TNA World Championship in a 6-way elimination match against Josh Alexander, Steve Macklin, Nick Nemeth, Frankie Kazarian, and Joe Hendry. Jordan Grace will be defending the TNA Knockouts Championship against Ash by Elegance. The X Division Championship will be on the line. Mustafa Ali will be defending against Mike Bailey. And lastly, the Digital Media Championship will be on the line as well. AJ Francis will be taking on PCO. So right now, that is the Slammiversary card. We have about 2 weeks to go until Slammiversary. I'm sure some other matches will be announced, like a TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championship match, a TNA World Tag Team Championship match. So the card is shaping up. We got a couple of more weeks. Keep your eyes on TNA as this Slammiversary card becomes more and more official. But that is it for the TNA Impact review this week. We covered a lot of stuff that went down on this week's episode of TNA Impact. We got the WWE and NXT crossover going down. There's a lot happening in professional wrestling. Every week I say it, you got to be watching WWE, you got to be watching TNA. If you're an AEW fan, you got to be watching that as well. Wrestling is at a high point right now. It is great to be a wrestling fan, but if you are watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. If you are listening on any of the podcasting platforms, I thank you for listening. And you will catch me next week talking all things TNA again. I will catch you in the next one.